ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Friday, April 28th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. I'll be taking your text this hour at 304-396-TALK. That's 304-396-8255. You can also find me on Twitter at Paul Swann. Coming up this hour, I've got the head coach of the Huntington High football team. That is the head coach of the state champion, Huntington Highlanders, Billy Seals. He's joining me here in the next few minutes. Anything special happened yesterday that maybe we should talk about with Coach? I think you know what happened yesterday. A proud moment for a lot of people in Huntington, and especially with the Huntington High program, because Darnell Wright was selected by the Chicago Bears with the 10th overall pick in the NFL draft yesterday. We had that here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We're going to have it again tonight because, just a programming note, Pirates baseball, that game postponed. Pirates are going to be in action coming up tonight, but due to weather situation, not going to happen. So we're going to have a doubleheader of action tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So that's going to open it up a little bit for the NFL draft. So we've got you covered tonight so you can follow all the action. You can't sit and watch it all. Well, we've got you covered here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. But it was a good day yesterday for let's just say for all of the people who have followed Darnell Wright, his career from high school to Tennessee, now to the NFL, and hopefully he's going to have a bright future. His head coach and a good friend of the program, Billy Seals, joins us here in the next few minutes. There's a lot of transfer portal news we got to get into today. We've got a lot of updates. Softball, I need to talk about that briefly because earlier today, the softball team suffered a 3-0 loss to Texas State. That is the first time that the Herd has been shut out since February 25th, 2022, I believe was the date. That ends a streak of 89 games. So 89-game streak of the Herd scoring at least one run ended today. Sydney Nestor struck out 4 in a complete game effort, with none of the 3 runs coming against her being earned. Second game's going to be played tomorrow, 1 o'clock, and it's going to be senior day as well. So senior day for the Thundering Herd. Saturday, hopefully the Herd can get back in the win column. That's surprising, though. It's been a long time since the Herd's been shut out. 89 games. That's a long time to go. I'm sure Marshall will bounce back, but still, seeing that score today, that shocked me when I was watching that and keeping tabs on it, that the Herd wasn't able to get a single run. That's amazing. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter wrote in and said, I didn't go to the Marshall softball game because I thought it was supposed to rain. Too bad we lost 3-0. Get them tomorrow. You got to be there. You have to be there tomorrow. Marshall needs all the luck it can get, right? That dot magic. Coach Megan Smith-Lyon talks about dot magic, so gloomy day, supposed to rain. Thundering Herd was able to get the game in. Unfortunately, the Thundering Herd didn't get the win. Yeah, you got to go. Jam the dot. I'm not saying it's your fault that they lost, but I'm just telling you, you got to go and add to the magic, dot magic. In all seriousness, yeah, the weather going to play a factor in a few games here and there. As we mentioned just a minute ago, it's impacting baseball, at least for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So that game not coming up tonight here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'll tell you what, they've been playing pretty good, though. I'll say this about the Pirates. They've been playing really good. First place in the standings? I haven't seen that in a long time. And they got the Dodgers yesterday 6-2, so Washington will wait. They should have no problem with Washington. I think they're going to extend their win streak. They're going to push it out a few games, and I think I'm not going to say they sweep Washington, but I wouldn't be surprised. All right, let's turn our attention to football. We got a lot of transfer portal news to get into. We'll talk about it more in depth later because I want to bring Billy Seals on here in the next few minutes. But Isaiah Gordon has decided to enter the transfer portal from Marshall. Remember him? If you were at the spring game a few days ago, you remember him. 56 yards on 10 carries, scored a touchdown in that spring game. So he put his name in the transfer portal. And then Jay Sean Kaufman, if you didn't see this, defensive lineman for the Thundering Herd, made the announcement on Twitter that he was entering the transfer portal. So transfer portal giveth and it taketh away. Now, I'm not saying this is the reason why spring games are not as important, because you watch a spring game and you see a player, and then come fall, that player's not on the roster. That happens a lot. I mean, it's a good time to go out and support the Herd and support the team, obviously, but take pencil. Do not take notes in pen. Take pencil, because if you're taking notes, trying to keep track of the roster, things are changing quickly, and the transfer portal is having an interesting effect on high school players, college, of course, maybe going out, picking up a kid out of the transfer portal instead of taking a chance on someone from the high school ranks. So what's that going to do in the next 5-10 years? I'm going to ask Billy Seals that here in the next few minutes, but we're going to get him on the program. We've got to talk about Darnell Wright being selected by the Chicago Bears, 10th pick overall. So how many people are now Bears fans in Huntington? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You can tell me how many of you are going to be Bears fans now. Billy Seals, my guest when we continue. This edition of The Drive is on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to The Drive. It's Friday, April 28th here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Well, yesterday was an exciting day. You heard it here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 as Darnell Wright was selected by the Chicago Bears with the 10th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. And to tell us more about it is his former high school coach and the head coach of the reigning and defending state champions in the state of West Virginia. Billy Seals, head coach of the Huntington Highlanders, joins us. I know your phone has had to blow up last night, today, still going probably.
Yeah, it has. And, just, very, very grateful and excited for the opportunity that Darnell has. And, I looked at my phone after he was picked, there early on the first round and had 78 messages already. So, just a big moment for the city of Huntington and a big moment for Huntington High football.
He's, in your estimation, probably the way a kid should be when it comes to work ethic, doing it right at the high school level, going to the next level at the college ranks, and then translating that to the NFL. I mean, a lot of kids are jumping in the transfer portal. Not Darnell. He did it the right way, or at least he did it the old-fashioned way. He stayed at one school and got it done.
Yeah, he's just a very humble young man that, is very grateful for all the opportunities he's gotten. He's earned each and every one of those opportunities with hard work and, film study and making sure he's doing what he's supposed to do in the off season. And so just really, really happy for that young man. And, what a great day for Darnell Wright and his family, and very, very well deserved.
When you were coaching him, what made you believe that he had the potential to play at the next level and even push it further to the pros?
Well, he's very, very athletic, for a big man. I mean, most guys who are 6'6", 335 pounds can't run a 5-flat 40, or they can't broad jump 9'8", which is, I think, what he broad jumped, and can't move like him. And so, we felt like that Darnell was, a special player, very athletic, very long, very big. And the biggest thing about Darnell is I think that he's always searching for that way to get better. And so I think that's why you saw him go so early, is that he's found those things that have improved his ability on the field, but also understands he's still got some work to do.
To highlight your point, at the Combine, he ran the 40-yard dash in 5.01 seconds. That was the fourth fastest 40 time at the Combine by any player weighing at least 330 pounds. since the at least the start of 2006 as far as the numbers are concerned. So not too many kids at his weight class are able to do that, and I'm sure that's going to be an asset for the Bears using a top 10 pick. That's the first time they've done that since 1983, using a top 10 pick to select an offensive lineman.
Yeah, I think that's one of his best selling points is just his ability to move his feet, his athletic ability. Obviously with Justin Fields at quarterback, he moves around a lot. He is a very athletic quarterback, and I think the Bears saw Darnell as a guy that's very athletic as well and can help kind of steal the pocket or be able to get out on sprint out passes and things like that to be able to reach the defensive end or the outside backer.
Now, for the next few days, we're going to be talking about all his positives and all his assets and attributes, and he's got a lot of them. But, when he was developing as a player during his time with you, did he have any challenges along the way that he had to overcome?
Well, I think his hand placement has improved as far as, in his pass protection. We always thought that he was a better pass pro guy than a run blocker in high school, but obviously in college he has developed tremendously in the run blocking, became more physical in those things. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I think the biggest challenge for Darnell was just who's lining up across from him on Friday night. He wasn't challenged a tremendous amount, to be honest with you, and sometimes maybe he got a little complacent in high school, but he always plays his best against the best. And so you could look at what he did this year against LSU and B.J. Ojolari. You look at what he did against Will Anderson. You look at what he did against Jalen Carter. All those, two of those three guys were picked in the first 9 picks last night, and he played his best football against those guys. So doesn't shy away from competition, and he's only going to continue to get better.
And of course, it's all due to you, right? All that coaching, you got him ready for the next level. That's all your preparation, right?
Had absolutely nothing to do with me.
Billy,
I'm just going to be honest with you. I mean, that young man is just a great young man, God-given ability, had all the measurables. Our job was just to love him up, make him believe he was as good as we thought he was, and just make sure he's a great young man when he's on and off the field, and the rest of it he took care of.
Joining us on the program is Huntington High football coach Billy Seals. Darnell Wright, selected by the Chicago Bears with the 10th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. He had an outstanding career at Huntington High School, moved to the next level, outstanding career for the Tennessee Volunteers, started 42 games during his career, and now he's in the NFL. I'm sure over the next few days, you're going to have a lot of memories coming back of your time with him. It's not as if he's left you. I mean, I'm sure that you're on the phone with him a lot of times. Probably yesterday and today, you're probably still going back and forth talking to him. But as far as looking back on his career and just coaching him, what do you think is going to be his legacy at Huntington High?
Well, I mean, you can't argue that he's the best player that came through Huntington High. I know since I've been there, and it'd be hard to argue that anybody else was any better than he was. When you go 10th in the NFL draft, the biggest thing with Darnell is Darnell was always about his teammates. It wasn't about Darnell Wright. It wasn't about his recruiting. It wasn't about the NFL draft. For him, he really enjoyed being around family and friends last night. He enjoyed being around teammates last night, as well as when he was in high school. So, it's always been about his family and his friends, and never about himself. And so I think that there's a lot to be said about that, and his humbleness about all the accolades that he's received throughout his career.
How has Darnell and the way he has gone about his football career, how has that translated into success for you and the next generation of Huntington Highlanders? I know he's involved with you and the program as well, but he's sort of that model you can point to, and I'm sure there are guys who are coming up now that are looking up to him, maybe wanting to be the next Darnell Wright.
No, I think the biggest thing that we've known for many, many years in coaching, that it's all about relationships. It's all about loving the kid on and off the field. It's not about what they can do for you on Friday night. I think that our kids in our program, know that we love them. They know that we've always got their back. They know that we're going to be there if they ever need anything. And so to me, that's way more important than wins and losses. Wins and losses are going to come and go. But, our guys in our program, I think, understand and know that our coaching staff truly cares about our players outside of Friday night. And I think that's the biggest thing. And that's with all our players. And obviously that was seen last night with, Darnell invited myself and my family and Coach Brandon Castle to the private party last night. So that shows you right there the relationships that were built while he was at Huntington High School.
Billy Seals is with me, head coach of the Huntington Highlanders. Of course, his squad winning the state championship. So you probably have already thought hard about this. How do you repeat that performance? And I know you have got a lot of up-and-comers coming, but with all the success you've had, it's not as if all of a sudden you just found a bunch of talented players and amazingly enough, here they are. Is it more now that we're seeing with guys like Darnell Wright, people are recognizing the talent that is here in West Virginia, in the area, and we might see more players like Darnell Wright make it to the next level because they're being discovered, they're being found. People realize the talent's here now.
Well, I think what we've been able to do is do a tremendous job of promoting our kids. Just as relationships are big with your players, relationships are huge with college coaches as well. And so, we make sure that we get out and we pound the pavement and the telephones and make sure that, coaches throughout the country know that there's players at Huntington High School and in the state of West Virginia. And, I help out kids from other schools. I mean, it's about the kid. It ain't about whether they play at Spring Valley, Cabell Midland, Hurricane, wherever else. I'm all about the kids and making sure that any kid gets an opportunity that I feel like, is deserving of it. So, I think West Virginia's got a lot of talent, and it's only going to get better for the state.
And since we haven't talked in a while, we've mentioned the transfer portal before, and I know you're not a big fan of it. It really hurts the kids that are in high school trying to get recruited. What have you had to do since we've talked last, or what are you doing maybe now to make sure that the transfer portal isn't having that much of a negative effect on at least making sure your kids are getting recruited and they have opportunities?
I think what we've done, we got to continue to develop our kids. That's the thing that I always hear from college coaches, why West Virginia kids don't get developed or not as developed as other kids. So we got to continue to do a good job of that, of just developing our kids, because we don't have spring football. It's a negative for the state of West Virginia. So like right now is a open period for college coaches. They're going around to a lot of states throughout the country that have spring football, and they're getting to see those kids out on the field and practicing. Whereas for us, the best thing they can see from us is in the weight room. So I really think that we've got to look at that and try to help out the kids in West Virginia to get more exposure, to be able to get on the field in the spring, and what better people to work with your kids than your coaches, and instead of somebody on the outside that you may not know anything about. So I just think that we got to move in that direction and continue to make our kids the best player they can be.
Would that be an easy fix to make that happen? Could it happen easily if there was really a serious push to do it?
I think if you look at the recruiting period for April and May, they're college coaches are on the road starting about the middle of April, and they're off the road the end of May. I mean, how hard would it be to have a majority of the schools in let's say our area, Spring Valley, Cabell Midland, Huntington, Hurricane? Why can't we say, hey, these 3 days, all these schools are going to use a flex day, and let's get out on the field so that these college coaches can come in and see the good players we have in this state. And I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's something that needs to be done, and I feel that it will benefit our student athletes here in West Virginia.
Billy Seals, my guest, head coach of the Huntington Highlanders, the reigning and defending state champions. Darnell Wright, a former player of his, now a selection of the Chicago Bears, 10th overall. Coach, I know you had a big part of that. Darnell put all the work in, but he had a great support system, including yourself. So congratulations on that. I know you've got to be extremely proud.
Yeah, very happy for the young man and his family, and looking forward. I don't watch a ton of NFL because we work on Sundays to get ready for the next week. But I can guarantee you this: I'll have a Chicago Bears jersey here soon, and I'm now a Bears fan.
See, I asked that question earlier. How many Bears fans are now in Huntington, West Virginia? And you're the first one, right? You're top of the list. You're a Bears fan.
Absolutely. I'm a Bears fan, and I'll be a fan of wherever he ends up, or, something happens later on in his career. I'm a Darnell Wright fan. So just looking forward to seeing his tremendous career and continue to see him get better each and every week.
Well, the bad news for me, he wasn't available for the Bengals to pick up. The good news is he wasn't available for the Bengals to pick up. So congratulations once again. Go Bears. I look forward to hearing all about your Bears over the next few years.
Yeah, the Bears.
That's Billy Seals, big Bears fan now. Thanks, Coach. We appreciate it. More coming up, including your text, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the Friday, April 28th edition. This show, it's called The Drive. We do it every weekday, Monday through Friday, 5 to 6 here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Let's get you caught up in everything that's been going on. Earlier today, Marshall softball suffering a 3-0 loss to Texas State. Back at it tomorrow at the dot. Be there Saturday, 1 p.m. Transfer portal a little busy today and yesterday for Thundering Herd players looking for a fresh start. Isaiah Gordon leaving Thundering Herd, entering the transfer portal. If you need a refresher on him, if you were at the spring game, he rushed for 56 yards, 10 carries, and scored a touchdown. So he is in the portal. Yesterday, Ja'Shawn Kaufman, a redshirt sophomore defensive lineman from Lexington, Kentucky, announced on Twitter that he's leaving Marshall and entering the transfer portal. Will we see more as the deadline approaches? Will we see more putting names in the transfer portal? Or are we going to see this maybe slow down a little bit? Interesting thought, to say the least, that maybe having some restrictions on the transfer portal is a good thing. I haven't seen too many names out there. But at the same time, you look at the roster spring and then you look at the roster for fall, and you're going to see some differences on that roster. I'm not trying to minimize the value of the spring game. It's just you get excited, you see a player, you get excited, hey, that player could have a bright future for the Thundering Herd, and then you see on Twitter or whatever platform that the kid makes the announcement, I'm putting my name in the transfer portal. Hard to build attachments and grow with players, right? That's one of the bad things. I mean, you have to use the transfer portal. You have to, because everyone else is doing it, so you have to do it too. And you got to go get the very best players you possibly can in the transfer portal. And sometimes it's a situation where school didn't work out, coach didn't work out, not getting enough playing time. Maybe there's a change with the program. My coach isn't there anymore. There are so many different reasons. So you're going to take advantage of the transfer portal. And sometimes that turns out to be a good thing, sometimes not so good. So good luck to several of these players that have put themselves in the transfer portal. Some are still hanging out in the portal looking for landing spots. We were talking with Huntington High football coach Billy Seals earlier yesterday. Good news. Huntington High standout. Tennessee Volunteers standout. Darnell Wright entering the NFL as a 10th selection. That's the first time the Bears have used a top 10 pick to select an offensive lineman since 1983. They took Jim Covert with the 6th overall pick in 1983. And if you were following along with the draft, if you're a Bengals fan, you had to wait a while. Because obviously, as you become more successful, you draft later, unless you trade up and make some maneuvers. The Bengals trying to not give away everything and make the best of draft position. And so the Bengals, with the 28th overall pick in the draft, picked up Myles Murphy. Murphy played at Clemson, very decorated during his time at Clemson. 2022, he's a first-team All-ACC player. He ranked as ESPN's 33rd best player in college football. In 2021, he was named a second-team All-ACC player, fourth-team All-American by Phil Steele. Back in 2020, he was named a freshman All-American by multiple publications. Also named the ACC Co-Newcomer of the Year. And he's an edge rusher. He's got really impressive size, speed, and power. And his ability to shed blockers has improved. One of the knocks on him that I saw was that he needs to develop more of a pass rush plan and inside counter, but he does, according to a lot of the evaluations, do a good job of impacting pass lanes when his rush does not get home. So I think it's a great pick for the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll be following more of what the Bengals are doing all weekend. We've got the draft coming up tonight, 6 o'clock here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Also on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. And then we've got a baseball doubleheader tomorrow with the Pittsburgh Pirates game with the Washington Nationals being postponed due to weather. Doubleheader tomorrow. It's going to be a traditional day-night doubleheader, 2 full games. We'll have those games here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Day 3 of the NFL Draft will be on Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. Our text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We'll get more of your text in when we continue with this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Our text line is still open this hour at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Welcome back. It's The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. We've had a busy day so far, trying to keep up with everything that's been going on. Softball earlier today, losing at the dot, back in action tomorrow at 1. Let's hope that maybe we'll get some baseball victories here the next few days. The baseball team in action in Atlanta, taking on Georgia State. That first game is going to be played in about 10-15 minutes or so. Also, they're going to be set for action on Saturday and Sunday. All of that's going to be on ESPN Plus. Thundering Herd trying to stay alive. I haven't looked at the standings as of late. I know that there was a point where they weren't going to get into the tournament. I think we still have a shot here, so let's hope that baseball can get it done. And I hope they can win out. I absolutely hope they can win out. It's been a rough season. I mean, it's not been a bad season. It's just not been where you'd like it to be. It's going to get better. New baseball stadium is being constructed as we speak, so there's progress there. Hopefully, that's going to translate into more success over the next few years. It's still going to be difficult because Marshall is a baseball team in a northern state. Yeah, some of the better programs are in the South. So hopefully Marshall can get it done. Speaking of baseball, the Charleston Dirty Birds, we try to keep up with them in action tonight. They'll be back home next week, but they're opening up on the road. Baseball action, don't forget, the Pittsburgh Pirates game has been postponed due to weather. We're going to have the doubleheader tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. The NFL Draft will continue on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. Again, NFL Draft tomorrow on Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. Now, one other item that we talked about briefly yesterday, but we've got more details on it, and that is Marshall University extending the contract of volleyball coach Ari Agnes, which I thought was a good move on Marshall's part. She does more for the university than just coach volleyball. If you have interacted with her, if you have talked to her, you followed her, she's someone who has been in the community. You see her team almost always front and center when it comes to representing Marshall University. She is a coach that, honestly, I think will build community with the branding with the university. She's someone that can talk about Marshall, talk about what Marshall offers. So I don't think records are necessarily the ultimate deciding factor here. She's someone that will be able to be an ambassador for Marshall University. I saw a little shade dropped on her on social media. I'm going to leave it be because I think it was a good extension for Ari Agnes, and they're getting more tools, trying to help them become a better program. Yeah, they got the floor. The TerraFlex floor is going to be something that a lot of programs won't have just yet. We're seeing improvements to the Cam Henderson Center. So these are things that I think are going to help the program move along a lot further than we've seen in years past. And honestly, I think moving Conference USA to the Sun Belt was very challenging. You just can't pick up conferences and go. It's very challenging because you have a new set of opponents. Now they have to figure you out as well. But still, you're going into a new conference, new situation, new arenas, new road trips, new everything. So I think the volleyball team has acquitted itself well. And Ari Agnes getting a contract extension through 2027, much more valuable. And the wins will come, but I think she's definitely much more valuable as an asset to Marshall University, not just as a coach. Our text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our number to be a part of today's program here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Again, a reminder, if you were tuning in early for Pirates baseball, thanks for tuning in. The Pirates game postponed due to weather, so the series with the Nationals will begin tomorrow. We'll have a doubleheader for you of Pirates baseball here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I think the other items that we need to talk about as far as what happened in the NFL, we all know that Baltimore Ravens agreed with Lamar Jackson. Right, 5-year deal, highest paid player in the NFL, $260 million 5-year deal with $185 of that guaranteed. Wait till you see Joe Burrow's deal. That's all I'm going to say. Wait till you see Joe Burrow's deal. That's going to be probably a much better deal. But of course, if you've got a quarterback in your division like Jackson, what do you do? What do you do? Well, you go get somebody that can go get him. And so let's hope that Myles Murphy can go get him. That's what I'm looking for. And if you're a Kentucky fan, how rough was yesterday? How rough was watching Will Levis sit there and you're thinking, no way he's going to be a first-round pick. I was sitting there thinking, no way he's a first-round pick. It's a good quarterback, but is he a first-round quarterback? And the answer is, well, no. So how tough is it right now to be a Kentucky fan coming back down to reality? And, of course, keep this in mind. You don't necessarily need to be a first-round quarterback to have a good career in the NFL. You can fall, show your worth, make it up on the back end. That initial money you're not going to get. But it's interesting to see how many people thought that he was a first-rounder. I mean, even Mel Kiper Jr. had him going to the Colts, but Anthony Richardson gets picked. That probably threw a lot of boards off. And I think, honestly, there were issues. There was issues with his left toe. We want to talk medically. There were concerns there. And he was invited. He was among 17 players invited to attend the first round because the NFL likes to have these players out there ready to go, bring them, and you think that you've done your due diligence and, okay, let's invite guys that we know are going to get picked, that are going to come out of the room. We know that they're going. And honestly, I don't know if I would have such a high number. Maybe I would back that down a little bit because there's no guarantee the players you invite are going first round, as we saw last night. So interesting storyline to say the least. Bad news is, if you're a Kentucky fan, you got to wait tonight to see if a quarterback goes in the second or third round. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you on Monday. Don't forget Pirates baseball coming up on Saturday, doubleheader. We've got the NFL draft starting 6 o'clock here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Good night, everyone.